Okay, we're back. Um, Actually, I was pretty shocked. This looks pretty good, actually. Nightwing the series is a fan-made miniseries centered around Batman's former sidekick Dick Grayson, and now with production almost done, a new full-length trailer is online. You can check that out online, and in fact, they have a release, um, a press release on it. So I'm going to just read the press release right out to you guys. I know all you Nightwing fans are just going to, basically, trip over your shoelaces if you're not careful, trying to get to your YouTube to look at these. But check it out. It looks pretty good for fan-made productions. Um, Here we go. Nightwing, the series, follows the story of Batman's former sidekick, Dick Grayson, a.k.a. Robin. After falling out with his mentor, Dick abandons Gotham and everyone in it. Emerging in the city of Bloodhaven years later, Dick takes on the guise of Nightwing, easily defeating the petty criminals who infest it. But he soon realizes he may have bitten off more than he can chew when a mysterious and dangerous assassin, only known as Deathstroke, begins targeting Bloodhaven citizens. Can he defend his new home and the lives of its inhabitants from the most dangerous foe he's ever faced? Only time will tell in this epic 5-part miniseries. Okay, that's about as close as I can get to the movie announcer guy. But you have to admit, check this out. The guy looks pretty good as an older, Nightwing character in his 20s. I mean, the costume looks good. This not bad in the martial arts. I mean, I have to say, this choreography is pretty sweet. I know my brother-in-law is going to, basically crap his pants when he sees this because he is such a big Nightwing fan. And appropriately so, with Deathstroke being the ultimate victim. Back with all the cartoons, all of the productions, with Slade fighting against the Titans. Deathstroke was perfect for it. So kudos to you guys and keep up the good work. I can't wait to see what's going to happen with this. I hope it gets picked up. I really do. That's the kind of treatment that it deserves. Okay, Sci-Fi has done it again, claiming original release material, only to find out that the series Ascension, which was put out in 3 days as a mini-series, was actually done in Canada. It was directed by Stephen Williams, created by Philip Levins and Adrian Cruz, distributed by Dead Bar Mercury, NBC, Universal Television Distribution. Okay, Philip Levins did a great job really writing this particular story of a modern science fiction event. It was originally written as a 6 one-hour episode miniseries. Well, they played 2 parts each for the 3 nights, so it became 2 hours each night, and brought it down to 1 week instead of the 6 weeks. Originally out of Canada, each episode being an hour, 60 minutes long. Included such people starring as Brandon Pell, Jacqueline Byers, Tiffany Linsdale, and P.J. Bodowski. Originally released out on December 15th through the 17th of 2014. I was just really amazed at this miniseries. I hope that it really takes off and goes on and becomes another, and comes out with another season. But here, I'll give you a little breakdown. Ascension is inspired by the real-life Project Orion that existed under the administration of President JFK, John F. Kennedy. The show sets up an alternate version of reality beginning in 1963, when President Kennedy and the U.S. government, fearing the Cold War would become hot and lead to the destruction of Earth, decided to launch a covert space mission. They sent 350 volunteers, including men, women, and children, into space on a century-long voyage aboard the USS Ascension, a massive self-sustaining generation ship. Their mission is to colonize a planet orbiting Proxima Centauri, assuring the survival of the human race. At 51 years into the journey, thus our present, as they approach the point of no return, the mysterious murder of a young woman, sorry about that, their first homicide since their departure, causes the ship's crew to question the true nature of their mission. So you get, it's actually a really good story. Tricia Helfer plays Viandra Denninger, the wife of the captain. Gil Bellows plays Harris Ensman, son of the founder of Ascension, who's determined to continue his father's work. Brian Van Holt plays William Denninger, the captain of the ship. Adrian Roth is Dr. Juliet Bryce, head doctor on the Ascension. It's just, you get a lot of new actors and actresses really playing it. And then you've got people you've seen on other parts. Again, they have their same situation where they take the actors and actress pool, from Canada and start recycling them through. So you'll see some people you may have seen in The Listener playing parts here in The Ascension. It's really well done, in my opinion, and some jump the shark ringers right out of the thing on the first night, which would be the second episode. So sit back there and watch what's really happening, because you're gonna go, what the hey? I guarantee it. It's gonna happen. Okay, well, let's take another break real quick, and then we'll come back and we'll listen to the interview with Jermaine Web from ACC on February the 2nd. And I hope you guys enjoy that, because listen to what he's got to say. He's got some really good ideas of combining graphic design elements with comic books and comic book production.
Okay. I have Jermaine Web with me here. Thank you for taking a moment out of your busy schedule to talk about things that are going on with your design studio. I know that you're working on your comics, Twilight, The Battle for Spiritual Warfare, and Chaos of Fallen Empire. What else are you doing as far as creativity and service industry-wise?
I'm also working on graphic design, and I'm doing motion graphics and a lot of freelance work.
Okay, could you expand a little bit, maybe on things that you can offer service-wise?
I can do everything from business cards, brochure design, company branding, motion graphics.
Okay, really to amp up the quality of what they're actually able to receive, right?
Yes, and make everything very consistent.
Consistency. So is that one of the things that you would actually recommend to people?
Yes.
What other type elements do they need to know from a design perspective?
Like when you're going with colors or how you do your logo, a lot of times your logo says a lot about you. And sometimes you have to kind of go with, just because you like it sometimes doesn't actually always make it a good logo. Because sometimes you may be trying to say one thing, but your logo is saying something else.
Well, that makes a lot of sense.
A prime example, a teacher was telling me he had a client who she wanted to have a tarot card shop. And on her thing, on her logo, she had a small child, a mom holding a small child's hand. So he was like, hey, do you want children coming to this business? She was like, no, I only want adults. Well, by that logo, it says I'm kid friendly, so parents are going to bring their children here. She's like, well, I don't want that. But by your logo, you do.
So that representation, you're getting that message out and what you're offering, whether you say anything or not.
Right.
And that's why people should really invest in some graphic designer's ability to take that moment of representation and really work with them to give them the best message possible.
Right.
And that costs a lot of money sometimes. But what would you say if someone saw, obviously, you're a standard, pay up front, half front,
and then the other half later.
Right, which is standard industry.
Right.
When they get a bill from you, do you have problems, justifying that cost, or?
No, I don't. No, I don't.
Okay, so you're showing them that they're paying for quality.
You're definitely going to get quality service from me.
That's excellent. So tell me, how does design fit with comic books?
Design and comic books are a very important thing because it brings a lot of elements together, and then it's what demographic, because now that comics books are a lot bigger than they were, thanks to Hollywood, you've got a bigger audience now. So you having to really step it up. And when you're trying to make money, you're like, well, hey, okay, I've got this person looking at stuff now, or, different people. So a lot of times you really do need to think about brand, because if you're not, people definitely are. And people always recognize good brand and good design.
That's good to know, actually. That really is. I think that's really words of wisdom from a creative standpoint to aspiring artists to maybe pay attention. You find someone to discuss things or come to people like yourself. Maybe check out their websites where you might be giving information, or drop you a message on Facebook, or follow you through social media.
Right. Because a lot of times I'll look at stuff and I'll see things people are doing, and I'm like, man, this is so 1990s. I don't think they're thinking like 2000 or 2015. Because, they're just one track, but sometimes they don't realize they're making things look dated. And sometimes it's not even intentional. It's just being aware of your surroundings and just key elements.
Well, that's good to know too. It's hopefully will make people think when they're actually taking a moment to be creative and to compose their work. That's try to put yourself in someone else's shoes. How are they responding to what you're putting out there? Is that the message you want to put out?
Yeah.
Because
a lot of thought process goes into design. And a lot of times it's like what you think your brand is and what people think your brand is are two different things. It's kind of like Coca-Cola. It's like people kind of get this feeling when they see Coke and they see the red and the logo. It gives them a certain feeling. So you think about that kind of stuff because you want to etch brand into people's mind. That way they're always thinking about you.
So you're establishing a relationship with your market.
Yes.
Without ever having to be that. That way they keep you always in mind.
You want them hooked on your product.
And that's honestly true. That's the ultimate goal of any advertiser, marketing, designer, or artist, or writer.
Because the rule is out of mind, out of sight. And if you're not thinking about it, then they forgot about you, because people are bombarded. They're bombarded with like design elements all the time, marketing every day. You might see on a daily basis 5,000 logos, 5,000 pieces of design. So you're like, what am I going to do to make somebody remember?
Wow. I guess we just take it for granted.
Yeah.
Without actually thinking about it, analyzing it.
Because I was on Facebook and I was looking at something that this guy did, and he had a superhero, and I could tell he was watching Attack on Titan, because I was like, oh look, he has these pocket elements and these grappling things shooting out, and I was like, you're watching Attack on Titan.
Yeah.
And probably nobody picked up on that, but that's the first thing I thought automatically.
And as a designer, you've noticed that you probably have found yourself being inspired.
Yeah.
And that's not plagiarizing. That's being inspired by the creative work and artists.
Right.
And we all should take notice of that, because when we don't grow, we're stale.
Right. And nobody wants stale stuff.
No, you can't even buy that at a day-old bread store.
Right. Like one of the things, like with my stuff, when people say Twilight, well, okay, the whole sparkly vampire thing kind of helps out sometimes. Yeah. I was at a convention one day and this girl was like, oh, look, it's Twilight. It's about spiritual warfare. That's a different Twilight. But there were so many things named Twilight before that movie ever happened,
that you were being able to get recognition just because of that word being used.
Right.
Okay.
Because I actually had somebody say, well, don't you think you need to change your thing? No. It's like Superman. Okay. There's a lot of things that use the word super. But, probably a lot of times when people think of super, they think of Superman.
Exactly.
Because people are simple. They're a lot more simple than you think they are. They're not really complex. So a lot of times they just grab the first and easiest thing that they've seen.
Visually, they attach a memory to it.
And then next thing you know, when you're telling them something, well, you copied that. No, I didn't. I came up with this idea
so many years before.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's funny how that is.
Well, okay, if somebody wants to take a look at your work, where can they go?
You can definitely catch my stuff you can go to www.airgraph.wix/comics.
Okay. And so you're on the Wix.com sites?
Yes.
Okay. What about Facebook? Can they follow you on Facebook?
Yeah, you can find me, Jermaine Web, definitely on Facebook. I think there's 3. And you will find me. I'm so easy.
Is that Webbs with 2 B's?
Yeah, 2 B's.
Okay, and Jermaine with a G. Okay.
Yeah.
You get that, everybody? Jermaine with a G with 2 B's.
And when you see my page, it has the banner. It's a graphic design, Jermaine Web graphic design on the back.
Excellent. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time from your busy schedule. It takes a lot out of everybody trying to take a moment just to talk to everyone. So we'll be putting this into our February podcast.
Okay.
Again, that's over at HeroCentral.org and over at HeroCentral TV on YouTube. So yes, you can check out for Mr. Jermaine Web. We'll have a link to his stuff.
That way you can follow the link and definitely check out his services because he's an awesome graphic designer and comic book artist. So thank you, Jermaine.
And thank you, Jason.